It's your girl, Glenda Michelle, author and spiritual warfare strategist. And I just wanted to share some War Room Chronicles with you. As a scribe for the kingdom, I've been privy to hear God's voice in various forms, audibly, when it feels like a download, through dreams, through just various forms of communication. Even colors one time, that was cool. So we tend to, people who aren't familiar with his voice, or people who question whether or not they're hearing God's voice, they kind of limit that conversation with him. And so I just wanted to share this other way that God speaks, and it's probably one of my favorite ones, because it's more detailed. But when you're praying or you're going through something and a song comes to your spirit, immediately go to that song and listen to all the lyrics. So today, and it's just been, just the trials of life. And so the first song was I've Come This Far by Faith. And I was like, okay, I love that song. That's my go-to. So I will sing that song on my own when I'm trying to be like, okay, we gonna stay and do this church thing, this Christian thing, this Jesus thing, or we gonna, So that's my go-to. But this time it came to my spirit. I was like, okay, Lord, okay, I got it. And then I heard that, I don't know if y'all familiar with this. This is an older song, and I am very much telling my age that I was born in the 1900s. But anyway, BB and CC Winans has a song, I believe, on their first album called Trust Him. And it goes, trust him all the way. And I heard that part, and I was like, okay. So I wrote it down, and I put it on a sticky note and stuck it up to the cork board that's in my war room, with the date on it, because I know the things that are going on in my life. And that was his response, because it wasn't a lot of my strategic prayers today. Like, I wasn't in the mood for that today. It was just like, I'm reading my Bible, because I've determined to be intentional this year about reading the entire Bible and reading God's word every single day. Even if I'm not studying it, I want to read it because I need it to be in me, right? So it wasn't a lot of praying today, but I was like, you know what? Let me get in my war room. Let me be intentional. Let me sit in my war room. And that's what came to me. So it was very, very powerful. So I went and I listened to the song. Loved it. Super dope. Got my mind in the right space. Okay, God, all the way. Not just trust him all the way. I was having a conversation with my bestie, and I was like, well, if this situation had occurred at a earlier season in my life when my trust for God was at 28%, it would have been a problem. But now my trust for God is like at 72%. So you know what I'm saying? I'm doing better. But trust is hard. Faith is actually easy, because you only need this faith the size of a mustard seed to do some damage. But trusting, that's something totally different. Faith is believing that he can. Trust is knowing that he will. One of the elders at my church said that years ago, and it lives rent-free in my head. But I remember the most fascinating way that God ever spoke to me with song was, I kept hearing, and it was weeks, arise, shine, for the light is come. And we used to sing this song in the church I grew up in, like not the church I understood what was going on, but like the church as a child that I grew up in before the pastor passed. And that's all I knew. I knew it was a song, and like it just kept nagging me, like for a significant time period. And I was like, well, I kept trying to look. I said, let me look it up. Let me look up the song so I can get all the lyrics, because clearly God is trying to tell me something. God is trying to tell you something. I'm driving. Y'all don't pay me no attention. Anyway, so I finally looked it up, and I couldn't find the song, but it was an actual verse in the Bible. I was like, I didn't know that was in the Bible. And I want to say Isaiah, don't get me the line, I want to say Isaiah 60, but God kept bringing that song back to me. So when I went to read it, I read it in its entirety, and it was just like him speaking back to me in regard to all of the strategic prayers that I had been praying. Like everything that was in there lined up with so many things he had previously shared with me, and I was like, wow. So listen to the song in your heart, be obedient, go look up the song, read the lyrics, because God is trying to tell you something. Y'all have a blessed one. And remember, it's real in these spiritual streets.